We are broadcasting again. And the channel is live once again. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to be playing Root, the role-playing game.
Yay.
We already did this introduction once before, but we're doing it again for technical reasons. And so I am Christiana Ellis, the Game Master. Our players tonight, Paul Weimer as Arbon Ironwing.
If I were a true poet warrior of the Erie dynasty, I would make an unbearable Ursine pun at this point.
Nobilis as Lancelot Vent.
Hi there.
Jason Banks as Clem Sparrow.
What's going on? I won't be doing Clem's voice tonight, but I'm very glad to be.
David Archambault as Nigel Farnboot.
So I have this shirt.
And Lee Burdett as Peppa Pika.
I feel so much better. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
So,
We were so worried it was just unbearable.
well, when last we left our vagabonds, they were in the clearing of Pinehorn, a relatively large community where they have discovered a couple of complicated situations. And so one of those involved a large batch of flour that somewhere in the inner workings of the various trades and deals and purchases made in the Riverfolk Company's trade network, somewhere along the line, this batch of flour was contaminated, adulterated, tainted, you might say, with a grain known as red millet, which is only supposed to be used for animal feed because it can be poisonous when cooked. And this resulted in several people getting sick, including your companion Peppa. However, thanks to the bravery of Arbon and Clem, who encountered a bear while searching for the herbal remedy, they nonetheless recovered enough to treat everyone who has presented with symptoms so far, including Peppa. But finding those responsible seems to be something that will take time and be complicated. And so Counter Ernaka, who is the local Riverfolk Company representative, has begun the process of investigating that. But Marielda, the local Wolverine denizen who runs a bakery which was impacted by this flour, is starting to feel that this is just another example of why the Riverfolk Company maybe should just leave Pinehorn. But she's also got other problems because her son is currently working for the Corvid Conspiracy, which is the, depending on who you ask, they are either a clandestine group of freedom fighters devoted to overcoming tyranny and toppling dictators, or alternately a bunch of criminal thugs that are in it to line their pockets. It's possible that both things are true.
I was going to say both.
Yeah.
It's like column A
Both is
and
good.
column B.
Yeah. But her son has currently signed up to work for them, and she is not pleased as a result. But as part of this whole process, Nigel encountered an otter who seemed to know more than he was letting on about where this flower might have come from or some other element of this mystery, and as a result was pursuing to ask questions, but the otter ran away, losing his shirt in the process. So Cinderella-like, this is your only clue to find this mysterious otter. Just adjusting some screens. And likewise, you also have now agreed to, on behalf of Corvid Conspiracy, murder a count of the Marquisate in the neighboring clearing of Patchwood. This is to supposedly even the score, given that you have taken the credit for murdering one of their own. It's a whole big mess that you've gotten yourself into. Add to that there is a mysterious Marcasate cat who's in town looking for a crow with burn scars. So I think,
There's lots of moving pieces.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're going to pick things up right now with it is the we're getting into the evening. The people who have already been at Dr. Murdy's infirmary have been treated and are in recovery. Peppa, you already feel considerably better, but still maybe a little woozy, but on the mend for sure. There have, over the course of the day, been 3 more people who have shown up with symptoms. Now, thankfully, there's enough medicine to treat them now, but it's just another reminder that there may well be other people who have this flower and don't
Right.
know it, even though the whisper network within the town has certainly gotten started. But given that we've got our gang back together, Peppa's on the mend, what would you like to do?
Well, do we need to start getting on our way to Patchwood?
What was our time limit on that?
They probably want us to do it rather soon.
I mean, we have loose ends here to clean
But
up.
do
But on
we?
the other hand, well, okay, they're not our problem, but we kind of made them our problem. We kind of got mixed up in their problems.
Could we just give the counter the shirt and just say, "Hey, this is a clue that there was a guy who ran out of here, and they're missing a shirt, but they're with the Riverfolk Company, and I don't know if you can track this back to him, but he might be able. Whoever owns this shirt might be able to tell you something."
Need some. Well, we don't have bloodhounds, but blood crickets. I don't know.
Well, I
there's
mean,
actual
you have denizens who
people.
might have keen
Yeah.
senses of smell.
Yeah. So, hey, I'm a fox. Is that something that I feel like I could try?
I would let you perhaps make a roll for it, but bearing in mind that what we're talking about here is less following a cartoon odor trail through the clearing and more would you be able to pick this guy out if you were
Yeah.
in a room with him, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now I think
So-
you saw him, so like if you
Yeah.
saw him again, you could say, yeah, that's the guy. But it's more a matter of you wouldn't be able to follow him across town by an odor trail, but you might be able to determine like has he been here, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
But you also
well,
had the other lead that you got from Mirielda last time was that there was a dive bar where it's the cheaper, rowdier place where members of the Corvid conspiracy and the Riverfolk Company both go to drink kind of neutral territory. That's where she expected you might be able to find her son, but that is also perhaps a place where you could seek other information as well. And in fact, we ended the last session with a little bit of a clip suggesting that the otter and her son actually know one another.
Oh, no. I think the otter might
You don't
be too
technically know
tenuous
that,
a lead, but helping her son, I think maybe that was something that would be a good thing for Mary. She's been through a lot. Look, her business has been rocked by this poison grain. Maybe we can do something about her son before we go hiding off and killing a Marcasate Count. I have no problems with killing a Marcasate Count, mind you. I just want to make sure we
right.
do our due diligence here first.
And we're not going to be starting a trip into the woods, even along a path in the late evening. So a trip to that tavern might not be a bad idea, just to see what we can learn. But I think that at this point the town's bureaucracy has gotten rolling.
Yeah,
And
the
they've
mayor.
got-
The mayor wasn't happy that we kind of cut him out at the beginning, and
Right.
but now he's in on it.
Yeah, and how that all grinds is important, but I don't know how much impact we can have at this point. I don't know what kind of evidence we could turn up. I suppose we can look, there's no problem looking, especially since, like I said, it's the evening. But I'm just getting itching to get moving again. That's all.
You have the wanderlust. That is,
Yeah.
we all do to one degree or another, which is why we keep
Yeah.
traveling around together.
Right.
What I will say is that I think. So Lancelot, what Murielda said was her concern as far as
Uh-huh.
letting the mayor and Counter Ernaka take charge of this investigation, is that she thinks they will take a long time in order to come back with the answer that there's nothing to be done.
Right. Yeah, and that's entirely possible. To me, the important thing was to keep people from getting sick.
Well, that
we
at
accomplished
least
that,
it
but-
seems like they're getting the word out for that, and there's
Right,
medicine
right.
now to be treated. Although right now it's a little bit complicated. You can sort of see coming that if it ends up being a lot of people, Murdy kind of charges on a sliding scale, but
Mhm.
at a certain point, if it ends up being a lot of people, he can't. That starts becoming a
Yeah.
problem.
Right. But that's, aside from going out and getting more of this herb, which is something we can do.
You did get a bunch, but it's a
Right.
short-term bunch, not a long-term bunch.
Right. We could do that. That would help a lot.
I do believe going to that bar would be.
Yeah,
Would
let's
be
do
the-
that and see what happens. Right.
We also might be able to find someone from the Riverfield company that would find that list we have very interesting.
That's right. There's another dangling
Indeed.
flat thread we
Mhm,
haven't
mhm.
Yeah.
looked up on. Yes.
And we might be able to trade the list for someone in the company who could take responsibility for all this. Maybe not someone who is actually fully responsible, but you know what I mean?
Escape.
The
quite a
real
scapegoat,
problem
but-
is that this is a system
Well-
that the whole system rewards this kind of shenanigans. That's the real problem.
Well, the last time we did something like that, it was us that took the blame.
Well, yeah, well,
Yeah.
I
okay.
don't believe we will have
I don't
to
think
worry
that's
about
gonna
that
happen this time.
Yeah. But I mean,
So what I'll say is that I think there's reason for some degree of cynicism there, but also that the Riverfolk Company, by and large, consists of a lot of different people who would see a lot of different ways, right? Because there are certainly going to be the people who feel like, anything to save a buck, but at the same time, you're also going to have people who are probably going to say, look, saving money is one thing, but selling something that's going to make people sick is bad business. That
Yeah.
needs to stop.
Right. So
Right.
does the Riverfolk Company have like someone who is responsible for their operations in the area?
So
a
Counter
leader that way?
Ernaka is that person.
Okay, and she's really busy right now.
Well,
Um,
that. So
But
she
maybe
is
we
the
can
person
maybe we
that-
can
yeah.
maybe we can catch her when she's done with whatever she's doing for the day, and talk to her about that. So clearly she's interested. I think it was from our interactions there, she really was interested in tracking down where this came from, how this happened. She's trying to protect, the Riverfolk Company's presence in the town, really,
Yeah.
when it comes right down to
Mhm.
it. So I think that we can probably work with her to track it down. And it may be that, the mayor's interference is making her job harder in that regard.
Mhm.
And if the mayor is involved with the Corbett conspiracy, maybe he wants to make that job harder so that the Riverfolk Company looks bad. So maybe in this particular case, we want to work with her to try and help track this down. But she's probably going to be busy. Let's go to the dive bar.
All right.
Dive bar. Are you filling up for it, Peppa?
Not
Be honest.
really. Not really. I mean, I feel bad because if I'm not there, then Lancelot's going to throw me under the
Bus again.
well, the
Wagon
yeah.
again. Yes.
It is easier to get to do that when somebody's not here.
But you've
But
already thrown me
you know,
under
we
the
can
bus
we
for
can
the
just make
Corbett
sure that you don't
conspiracy.
drink too much, and
Yeah,
you'll
I
be
just
fine.
don't want to have. I just don't want to have like a drink of ale and then just throw up all over somebody important.
We'll make sure that whoever you throw up on isn't important.
Okay.
Or
Uh,
if you do throw up on someone important, it is profitable for us.
Someone who has it coming.
I'll carry you under my arm and aim you appropriately.
Okay.
All right. So is everybody going then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would like to solicit from all of you ideas for the name of this place.
The Muddy Axle.
Muddy Axle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of like I think that's one good option. It is kind of like a dock bar as opposed to
Okay.
like
Oh, okay.
wagons.
The torn sail.
Or the paddle boat.
Yeah,
burned
the
pelican.
broken. Yeah, the broken paddle boat.
The broken paddle boat. Okay, sure. In fact, it is literally a broken paddle boat. It is.
That's awesome.
So what this is a great big, once fancy, now not so much because it's a dive bar instead of an actual fancy boat, that got broken and converted. So it is
Right.
now sort of permanently affixed in a place that was presumably originally going to be dry dock. And so technically there's no way that it would move at this point. Or
Yeah,
probably
they,
not
they
even float.
dragged it up on the bank to try to fix it,
Yeah.
and then discovered that it just wasn't worth it and left it there.
Right. Essentially, I think what happened is like you find someone who's willing to tell you the story, or no, let's say Peppa, you already know the story from Bronwyn, and so essentially what happened here is that someone made a really bad investment. It was going to be this big thing to take people on these ferry tours up and down the river, and it was supposed to be really nice and everything, but the person basically just had no real appreciation for how much it costs to run a boat or whatever, and so by the time it just broke down for good in Pinehorn, he didn't have enough liquid assets to actually get it fixed. And so essentially no one wanted to buy it from him, and he ultimately just abandoned it and left it. And it was taken over by squatters who converted it into a bar. And so technically it's kind of sort of a legal business now, but mostly it's run by the people who run it as opposed to an official like property owner.
Right.
So
We can all appreciate that as vagabonds. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So the broken paddle boat is literally a broken paddle boat.
And you enter through this big gaping wound in the hull where the boiler exploded.
Yeah.
And
they-
they've kind of draped canvases and things around it, but it's
Yeah.
not like a door.
It looks about as nice as actual just draped canvas can be made to look. Like someone put some time into trying to make the draped canvas draped in as convenient and as aesthetically pleasing a way as possible, but nonetheless, it is still draped canvas propped
I
over
would like to
oars.
propose. I would like to propose that the floor is actually at a consistent 5-degree tilt. You're right.
Yes. Well, that's a great thing to have happen, because if you lose your marbles, you know which part of the room to look for them.
And the barkeeper likes it because it's a good reason to not fill glasses all the way.
Yeah. And the
And-
empties just slide down. They've got it to so that
Yeah.
the bar's angled so that the empties just slide all the way down and into like a crate to be washed.
Well, I think a lot of
Washed.
yeah, I think a lot of the tables have actually been rigged with shims to. Is that the word?
So the top of the table
just
is
a
flat.
little, just to prop them up to sit,
Yeah.
so things don't literally slide off of them.
And if you get up and immediately fall down, you're too drunk. You're too drunk to do it for
There's
another
your,
drink.
your cutoff.
Yeah. They just roll you into the scuppers.
Yes, so that is the place that that you find yourselves heading now. It is into the evening, and it sounds to be fairly boisterous inside. I think that there is music provided not on some old honky-tonk piano, but rather a poorly maintained fancy pipe organ.
Okay.
Like, it was intended to be like entertainment
Yeah.
for fancy,
Right.
very clientele, but
Yeah.
and it still mostly works, but like there's a couple of notes here and there that won't blow right, and
Yeah.
And on approaching it, Nigel just stops, looks at it, makes a quick drawing in his book, and then moves on.
Incorrigible.
all right. So, is everyone just heading on in, moseying into
Yeah.
the front door?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm last, so I guess I got to wait for Nigel to finish his drawing before I can go and get in before I can go in.
Okay. So here's a question though. If you're not being like stealthy or secret, then what we are going to be in a position of is like if there are people you were going to specifically look for here, like
Definitely.
your lead
Ariel
is
the
not
Sun, yes.
necessarily to look for the otter here. Like we have some dramatic irony in the sense that we, behind the screen know that the otter might be here, but you wouldn't in character necessarily know that. But I guess the question is, if you're just wandering on in, there's a good chance that they might see you before you see them.
Well, Nigel is pointedly going to look for any familiar faces,
Okay.
of our current quarry or other quarries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, how about this? Nigel, go ahead and read a tense situation.
Okay, and that's cunning.
I believe so, yeah.
That is a 7.
Okay. So with a 7, you basically get to ask one question. And the standard questions here are, what's my best way out in through? Who or what is the biggest threat? Who or what is most vulnerable to me? What should I be on the lookout for? Who is in control here?
Okay.
And if
Who's
you're
most vulnerable
specifically-
to me sounds like a great question.
Well, yeah, you were just relying on me to not say that guy who's unconscious in the corner. That has nothing to do with anything. But I wouldn't do that.
Who or what is the biggest threat?
Okay. I think that one of the people, or like over in one of the corners, Nigel, you would recognize these two. This is the mouse and the weasel that you saw accompanying the mayor earlier in the day.
Okay.
And they seem to be drinking by themselves in a corner, having like an intense conversation with each other. They're just talking
Yeah.
between the two of them. But once again, I think as you look over them, your read a tense situation senses give you, like a little bit of, the hair on the back of your neck, the fur on the back of your neck stands up as you look at them, just feeling like they are up to trouble and are good at making trouble for people, and getting in their way is like, they seem like they have the most different possible ways that they might cause problems for you.
Okay, and I would like to share that information with Lancelot since I have a relationship thing. You know, he
Okay.
can benefit from the +1 for acting on anything related to that.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so, if you recall, Lancelot, the weasel in particular was the one where the way I described it was, you believe that if the mayor told him to stab you in the neck, he would do so without hesitation, and the expression on his face wouldn't change.
Right. Right.
Lancelot, those two in the corner, I believe they were. Did I see him with the mayor?
I think so. I think you did. You were the
Yeah.
because you yeah.
Or
Well,
was
Well,
that?
let's put it this way. I will tell Nigel at this
Okay.
point.
at some
Oh,
point,
yeah.
at some point you would have figured that out.
Those two are the mayor's bully boys.
Yeah.
Yes, I would be careful if you uh, if you get involved with them. They seem to be quite dangerous.
Yeah. Now, I will say that with your 7, you do also spot there's not a lot of Wolverines, and so you do see one who seems to be about of the right age to be Murielda's son, although I don't think you met him.
No.
I think only Peppa has seen him.
Yeah, Peppa, you saw him leaving the bakery when you were watching it. But yeah, so you do spot him, and I think you don't see this otter that you're looking for at the moment.
Okay.
So I will gently peck Lancelot on the shoulder and say, kind of bob my head in the direction of Murielda's son.
He is with a group of other denizens, some of which are, corvids, and some are not. But he certainly looks like he's got a crew.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to play this, Lancelot?
I don't know. Let's get a table and just
Watch.
keep an eye open and see what happens. I'm not sure what we're actually here to do. Let's just see what happens.
Sure.
Observe the tactical situation.
All
and
right.
make
So
Yeah.
plans.
yeah. So I think certainly if you stand by the entrance much longer, you're going to start
Yeah.
getting
Yep,
even
time for
more
a table.
attention than you would otherwise. But here's a challenge that I offer the group. There is not currently an available table with 5 chairs.
Right.
I think there's a couple of tables that have only 2 people that would potentially, it would fit you all if those 2 people left. But
Right.
it's a question of, are you going to split up, or are you going to try to claim a table, or how would you like to proceed?
Are there any with 4 chairs?
I've just described the available
Okay,
options.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
the
shouldn't be-
only tables which
Yeah.
would fit all of you are occupied currently, but there are some that are occupied only by 2 people who could
Right.
they could sit somewhere else.
Yeah. So I think what we're gonna do is just stand really near one of those tables
Mm-hmm.
in a conversation circle
Yeah.
and talk really loud. And you know what else? I am going to stand nearby them, and whatever they're talking, I'm just going to involve myself in their conversation and just be the friendliest, most irritating guy you've ever known at a bar.
This-
Okay.
This could guess it. This is good a bar fight yet.
All right. So hang on. Let's see. I'm gonna figure out who's at this table. So we've got a beaver and another fox at one of these tables. We'll say that's the table. So, how do you pick the table that you want? Do you do it based on location, or you read the?
I want to, I bet, well, I kind of want the most inoffensive of the two sets of people.
Okay.
If like if there's like some big bruisers who are going to
Yeah.
be troublesome,
So
then
so
I'm
I'll
gonna
say
avoid
this
them.
table that has the beaver and the fox at it. Those of the two tables, that's the table that's you quickly intuit would be more of a pushover than the other table.
right.
All right.
So yeah, we're gonna stand right nearby,
Mm-hmm.
have a loud conversation about something completely innocuous,
Sure.
like I'll take out my banjo.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take out the banjo and try to play along with the organ guy.
Oh God.
Except I've only just gotten this thing and I really don't know how to play yet.
Well, also, and
Well, I
Also,
mean,
why
are
give
you
it-
volunteering that you don't play it well, or?
Well, we can roll the dice to find out,
Mhm.
right? But I'm not intentionally playing badly.
I mean,
But-
I think ultimately what you're doing here is to persuade an NPC, unless you think
Yes,
you have one.
I'm doing it in kind of a subtle way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, "Hey, move along."
Mhm.
I'm trying to just be annoying enough.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's a persuade an NPC in this context.
Okay,
And so
all
you
right,
would roll,
all right.
roll
So-
with charm.
Okay, I rolled an 11 plus 3 is 14.
Okay, well, yeah, I think that works. There's a little bit of them kind of still trying to talk over you and maybe try to talk loud enough to hear each other over what you're doing, and then at certain point they just kind of look up at you and say, would you all want to just sit here? We were just leaving.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. You're so kind. And we'll sit down.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not putting the banjo away though. I'm still gonna
Yeah.
kind of.
I think that display attracted some attention though. Like
Right. Uh-huh.
there's a considerable number of the people here in the bar that are aware of your presence now.
Yeah, and probably aware of who we are and what we've done.
Somewhat.
The
anyway.
words of rumors are probably
Mm-hmm.
starting to move, especially with regard to what happened at the counter's office.
Right.
how close are we to the two bruisers?
They are off in a corner. But this place is
They've
not
got a booth, right? They've got
huge.
a
Yeah, well-
special
Yeah.
spot.
right. Yeah.
It's the
so-
most upstream, so
Yeah.
everything flows away from them.
Well, but like, so nothing in this place is like actually nice anymore because it has absolutely been stripped of anything with any real value.
Yeah.
So like you can imagine that the VIP table where it once had, really nice, fancy velvet seats and cushions and, gilt on the tables and stuff, like all of that has been gouged out or torn away. And it's all just like, canvas tarpaulin cushions and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but at the same time, they are kind of in a slightly more secluded spot. I think that you're probably, maybe 30 feet away.
Okay.
You're pretty sure that they are aware of your presence, but they still seem to be having their own conversation.
And how far away is Marielda's son?
He is at the bar, I think. So he's,
Okay.
he's gonna. We'll say he is about the same distance in the other direction.
Okay.
So I think you as you sit, you take a moment to sort of, acclimatize yourself to the situation, and you realize pretty quickly this is not the sort of place where a waitress comes to take your order.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Oh, that's Arbin. You've got money. Go go buy us a round of drinks.
I have
Can
I have money.
tea, please?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure they have tea here, Peppa. But if they have,
And if they have water, you probably don't want to drink it.
yeah.
Well, they
All right, so I'll
definitely
go- I'll
have
go to the-
water. What else are they going to cut the alcohol with?
Yeah, but it may not be water that we have.
Well, when you cut it, the alcohol with it, alcohol will kill anything that'll
The
Yeah.
in the
Make it
water.
To a point, anyway. Yeah.
Yep.
But maybe they have small beer for
Yeah.
Peppa.
But if they have tea, then it's boiled water.
That's true. I'm going to get a look when they ask for the tea, but I'm going to go for it anyway because Peppa is my friend and Peppa's
Okay.
not feeling well.
Sure.
I'll lead with the tea and then launch into the drink to show I'm actually
well,
normal.
I want Peppa to roll Trust Fate before we go up and have our
At least I'm okay. Good luck.
Okay.
This is
Trust
roll
Fate.
plus luck.
All right. 2d6 plus 1. Not plus 10, plus 1.
Plus 10 would
8.
probably, yeah. So, I think, yeah, okay. So, you can go ahead and, so Arbin, are you're not trying to accomplish anything here other than just getting around to drinks? Or?
I'm just getting around. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
mission focused for the moment.
Sure. We'll go ahead and say, let's say that one value will essentially pay for like 3 rounds for everybody.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay.
Okay, so that one value it is.
So they definitely have liquor. They have beer that's in kegs. And then you ask
For the
so,
tea.
Yeah, so I think we've got a tough looking rabbit who's behind the bar here, who's a little kind of scruffy around the like the whiskers and just a little bit of an intense stare in the eyes, but they are busy in general. But you come over to take an order, and they're impatient for you to go ahead and what do you want?
Four boiler makers and a pot of tea.
Pot of tea.
Pot of tea. My friend is not feeling well. Is not feeling up to being rowdy with the rest of us tonight. I can pay. I'll pull out the coin. So do you have the tea or not?
Let me tell you what I could do for you.
Okay.
Gift you the Boilermakers.
Mm-hmm.
Meet my friend in the corner. I'll get you some boiling water. Friend's gonna have the tea.
Oh, no.
Oh God. Four boiler makers and a small beer then.
What, you don't want the tea now?
I get the hint.
Hey, I wasn't hinting anything.
Or was she? I'm not trusting this rabbit at this point.
All right. And he so he gets you the when we say small beer, we mean like it's low alcohol content.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry if I wasn't clear.
I'm just anybody who didn't know. So that you are served that, and there's a little bit of you watch the rabbit look over at the person he had previously pointed to and kind of
I don't feel like I
I
don't feel
was
like
curious.
spilling blood today, which might have happened. So let's just keep this on the up and up.
So yes, you have interpreted that as you will. So
Yeah, it may be wrong, but
Yeah.
we're in a dangerous town. So
okay, so you return with drinks. What's
yep.
what's everybody doing? I
Yeah.
think you all find that the Boilermakers and the beer are perhaps, I guess, surprisingly is subjective, right? How much did you expect? I would say you find it very drinkable. It's certainly not
Yeah.
like high quality or anything, but it's
Right.
fine. It's perfectly ordinary stuff that like gets the job done and doesn't taste terrible. It's just,
Yeah,
you know, it's the cheap stuff, but it's fine.
yeah, yeah. It's the local equivalent of PBR.
Yeah, sure.
Think I
Jason's over
Right.
there going, "Oh God, no, nothing but this." You're muted, Jason.
It is literally the worst. But no, Clem is gonna after he's finished the first and maybe going through the second,
Hmm.
is gonna be like, I got an idea because I'd like to know what those guys are talking about.
You mean the mayor's goons?
Hmm.
Yeah, because I don't trust the mayor as far as we could throw her or him.
I think we
It
probably
was
could
him.
throw him a pretty good distance, but your point is taken.
Yeah. And they look very involved in that conversation. And if those two are intent on something, that doesn't bode well for whomever is the subject of that conversation.
Okay.
Is there a table of two people near them or like close enough to where I can sit or interrupt that table?
I mean, I think that there are occupied tables, but I think that I think that there are perhaps unoccupied chairs, but it's a question of like how how are you going to integrate yourself into one of those chairs for the purposes of listening in on another table without attracting attention. That seems like a challenge that we could perhaps roll dice for.
Oh, exactly. And who says I don't want to attract attention? So Clem is gonna take a swig of his second drink and find a table with some people at it, and he's gonna be like, kind of lumbering and kind of swaying, and he looks at him. He says, "Do you know of the noodle incident?"
Okay, so you have found a table that has a badger and a wolf at it. Let's see. I'm rolling for personality traits here. Um, yeah. So I think in this context, when you're specifically wanting to try to, this seems like a denizen reputation role, right? I wouldn't normally consider this person someone important, but it seems reasonable to use the move in this context. So go ahead and roll with your denizen reputation. And it's just you in this case, so it looks like it's just +1 for you.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, nice. That is a 6, a 4, so that's 11.
Wait. Did you say 6
Yeah.
plus 1 is 11?
No, 6 and 4
Oh.
plus 1.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Yeah. So in that case, then, with meet someone important on a 10 plus, you get you are aware of their wider reputation, which I think in this context, you got high enough. So I don't think these are randos, right? Like
Yeah.
How about this? Okay. Here's what this is. You recognize the logos they've got on their jackets. You know what ship they work on. You don't necessarily know these guys, but you know that they work on, let's see, the Speedy Trout ship that mostly does fishing, like not catching the fish, but like I guess like transporting fish.
Right. So Clem is like he opens with the asking about the noodle incident. Mind you, he still wants to position himself kind of as close to the two muscle guys as possible. Because if he can get within earshot, he's gonna listen whilst he uses them as the means. But and then when he recognizes the insignias, he's like, Speedy Trout? When the noodle incident happened, you guys were in port.
Yeah, and
I
yeah, so I think that they are looking up at you because for a moment there's who is this guy coming and talking to us while we're wait. They look up at you. No, real what? Oh, yeah, no, it is you. Like, and then they kind of, I think, maybe look around and they see the others over at the other table, which we'll come back to in a moment. But like, yeah, hey, hey, you want to drink on us? That was some pretty fun stuff.
It was really exciting, and yes, I would like a drink on you guys. But if they had just gave me more time, it wouldn't have happened.
All right, so I think you can easily, they want to know more about the story, and you can easily sort of integrate yourself there, but I think you've set yourself up with a little bit of a challenge here where you want to try to listen in on the other two at the same time that
As
you're
you're
having another
entertaining them.
conversation.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that sounds like probably a cunning roll, right?
Much
Yeah.
Unless you have, let's see if there's a roguish feat or something that seems like it might apply.
Oh, I will much. I don't think I do, but I would rather take cutting because I'm better at cutting.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to think. Well, because it depends. Because we don't have like a specific move for this, right? So it's a question of
It's kind of
not-
a stealth thing, right?
yeah.
Kind of a stealth thing.
Right. I think, honestly, I think it's probably luck, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Because you're relying
Plus fate.
on them, like you can hear what they're saying when there's not, like when there's breaks in the conversation that you're having here at the table, and so it depends on like what they're saying in those moments, and just when you can hear them and when you can't. I think that's got to be a trust fate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. That is an 8.
An 8, okay, yeah. So with an 8, I think in this context here, we can. Do you want to mark a box of exhaustion to just represent the mental stress here that you're doing and trying to run your brain in parallel tracks?
Oh yeah.
All right. So in the meantime, and I think it's workable, it's realistic and reasonable because the noodle incident story. You've got your way of telling it, right? So
Yeah.
you can just kind of get into that at the same time that you're kind of trying to listen over your shoulder at these two. And I think that here, let me make sure I've got my my right notes here that what their whole deal here is. So they've got. I'm sorry. This is yeah. Okay. So I think you pick up from their conversation some broad details that their names. The mouse is named Rohis, and the weasel is named Drew. And it is absolutely, I totally didn't plan it this way, but I think just because the parallel is so substantial, I'll go ahead and name check Fargo, that there is a real Steve Buscemi, Peter Sarsgaard, or what I don't remember the Peter Stormare, I think is the other actor. The two gangsters in Fargo. The mouse is kind of very animated and angry and kind of energetic in the speak, and then the weasel kind of gives a lot of monosyllabic responses to things in kind of um, a much more non-committal tone. But I think that um, what you are getting from the bits and pieces of their conversation here is that Rohis likes that they've been able to attach themselves to Mayor Gage, but has come to believe that it's not the stepping stone that they were hoping for, and that the Corvid conspiracy is never going to let them actually get to a position of importance, because they're not birds. And so that's the concern, is that if we want to make something more of ourselves than what we've got now, I don't think we can do it here. So that's what they're having a conversation about.
Okay, interesting.
What's everyone else doing in the meantime? Clem has wandered
Right.
off to eavesdrop.
And Nigel is absolutely looking around at everyone,
Mm-hmm.
maybe trying to do so without, being obvious that he's looking for, someone specific.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah. How about this? If you would like, you can do your sneak roguish feat
okay.
to just try to get to a point where you can sort of get a look at everybody, including the people who aren't facing your way.
Did
and
we
that-
ever?
Hmm?
Huh?
Go ahead. Oh, wait, my turn.
Oh, okay.
Snake eyes.
Oh, okay.
Ugh.
Yeah. So that's not going to go well then. I think that what happens is that you realize that there is a table that's kind of a little bit around a corner, and as you're kind of trying to ease your way over there, there is a mouse who's sitting, and you step on their tail,
Ow.
and they yelp in alarm and like try to stand up, and they back up into you, and then that makes you stumble over and fall over the table of the people next to you, spilling their drinks, and all of a sudden there's a lot of angry shouting.
Hey.
I'll go ahead and volunteer for everybody that this is classic bar brawl start stuff. So if that's not the direction you want this evening to go,
We better do something about it. So,
yeah.
So-
So I think that Nigel, you are already have this mouse leaning over you. He's like, "What are you doing? Watch where you're going, buddy! You stepped on my tail." And then the other people who spilled the drinks are yelling at you for that, and people are definitely all turning to look at you now. It is the exact opposite of sneaking successfully.
Snake
Yeah.
eyes.
I mean, literally, as low of a roll as possible. So
Yeah.
critical fail. It's like, I'm sorry. I did not mean to step on anything or spill any drinks, and holding up my own drink was probably all over me.
Mhm.
So it's like, sounds like we all lost our drinks. Perhaps I could buy you all some drinks.
Well, I think that is a reasonable bribe in the context of making a persuade an NPC roll.
Yeah,
So let's see, roll with charm.
that's charm.
Yeah.
Which is just lovely for me.
hey, it's fun to roll on the stats you don't have very, very good.
Yeah. And that is actually a 10.
Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, I think everyone's looking down at you, angry, and you kind of offers like buy everyone drinks, and then they're like, yes, that seems fair. That's yes, okay, go. Now that means you are going to go do that now.
Oh yes.
Their relaxing is contingent on you following through on this promise. So
Yeah.
I would
I'm
imagine,
gonna get up, kind of shake off my
yeah.
thing, kind of wipe up with the shirt, with the shirt of the otter.
Okay.
Oh.
So I think that like the rest of the bar, seeing now that it does not seem to be a brawl beginning, kind of chills out. But I think, Nigel, you would now understand that anybody in the bar who would recognize you would have seen you by now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were being escorted to the bar to
Oh, yes.
follow through on this. So
Yeah.
while
So-
that's happening,
So while that's happening, to the remaining members of the group who are at the table,
mhm.
did we ever decide on a name for our crew?
Yeah.
Yes,
thank
the
you.
end team.
The N team, right? Okay. Not much rhymes with N team, and I've got the banjo out and I'm kind of plinking at it and trying out lyrics.
Bling,
Um,
bling, 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 bling,
Bang,
bling,
bang,
bling.
bang. Bling, bling, bling.
It's
Sorry.
That's-
the dream, the end team.
I think
I am
Pepe is going to-
in fact searching for whether anybody has recorded the A team theme on a banjo.
Oh. The Spaced TV show has an excellent dance music version of it.
Yeah,
But in any case.
seconded. Did Peppa see the nod that the bartender gave towards the corner with the guy with the tea,
Oh, I'm sorry.
supposed tea?
Oh, please repeat what you were just saying.
I blipped off.
I didn't hear the beginning of what you said. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's fine. I was just Peppa is still in the search for tea,
Okay.
and so I was wondering if she saw the motion that the bartender made to the corner with the guy who supposedly had tea.
Well, so I think Armin, would you have described that whole setup to
Yeah.
Peppa? Okay. Yeah, so I think Peppa, in that context, I think you wouldn't have seen the exchange happen, but Armin could have told you about it.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
talking about as we're chatting here and
Uh huh.
muttering that, yeah, it's a trap, it's a trap, it's a trap.
Okay, well, it's no fun if you don't set the trap off.
That's true, God.
That is such a
Master,
Peppa
as
thing to
Master
say.
Kenobi says.
Yeah, that's the difference between Peppa and Armin, although they're both birds. You'll set the trap off. I'm more cautious.
Okay.
You're just gonna
So-
go launch right into it.
I would like to. I would say, I have absolutely no money left.
I will give you a value there.
Yeah, thank you. I am going to take my value and see if I can get some hot water and some tea.
Here we go.
Well, so I
Get
think
hot water.
yeah, this is a mole in the corner, not wearing
Okay.
just wearing denizen clothing, not like Dutchy stuff,
Yeah.
but
Right. So he's going incognito.
yeah. Well, or he just literally doesn't work for the Grand Duchy. He just happens to be a mole, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in any case, he's kind of in the corner. So,
Yeah,
you
so-
approach, and he, you know, he seems to turn in your direction, sensing your approach.
Yep. So I hear from the bartender who told my friend that you may have some tea. And I would very much appreciate some tea because as much as the beer here is drinkable, it's a little bit too hard for my stomach.
Yeah, you want tea, huh? I can get you some.
Oh boy.
What kind of tea do you have? And she's looking. She's trying to channel the pathetic blanket burrito,
Aw.
Peppa of the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, if he hurts you, he's gonna pay.
If you
Oh.
you know the eyes just get bigger with the
Oh.
with the pleading look. Please, sir, may I have some tea?
Oh God.
Well, it just so happens that I have a variety.
Oh. I wonder if tea is a code word for something in this bar.
No.
If you, I don't do the boiling water part. You'll still need to get that from the bartender. But if you want to see my stock,
Oh yeah.
come
Yes,
with me.
please.
I don't move tea on the paddleboat premises.
Okay. Okay. So, no, she is absolutely going along with this.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh,
The exit is covered by crashing of a table as
Yeah.
Nigel falls.
I would imagine we have the close up, and then in the background, slightly blurry, we'll see all that happening. All right, so he says, "All right, come with me," and he's going to lead you outside and like around the back.
Okay.
So you follow him, and I think it's definitely night now. The sound of the the drinking and conversation from inside is muffled, but you can kind of hear the river from this distance, and there's crickets and the evening breeze. I think it's kind of a pleasant, warm evening here, but he kind of leads you around into a place where it's just pretty dark, and he there's a spot you can see where there's like a candle that's not lit sitting just like on a little platform nearby, and he goes and he lights the candle and then stands like as he lights the candle, it's like right near where when it lights up, it's it's underlit on his face, and he just says, "Behold," and he opens up his jacket, and he's got it just classic stolen watches style. He has got all sorts of tea bags with mysterious little dried leaves in them held, and he says, "Stomach trouble, huh? Well, I can personally recommend this variety, but we've got teas that'll make you feel however you want."
oh, okay. Now it feels a little more realistic. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the whatever you recommend for stomach troubles, I've got one value. How many will that buy? Could I have a variety to try?
Absolutely.
Oh, she's gonna go from sick to drugged. Oh.
For one value, he'll take one out and he'll say, "This is the one that I recommend for an uneasy stomach. This is the one when you're looking to have a good time.
Oh,
And this is the one for when you're done having a good time. You need to get some rest."
Okay.
Oh God, have we established tea as the drug of the villains? Oh God, what have we done?
Yeah, tea.
Tea.
There's a poster in the mayor's office that says "Just say no," and it's got a
To
teacup
tea.
on it.
Yep.
God.
Sounds good to me. And
Don't
I'll
mix those
turn
up.
over the value.
Don't mix those up.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. One has a little green label. One has a red label. One has a blue label.
Yeah.
And
which one
so,
is which?
Yeah. And they've got like a Mickey Mouse head just like stamped on it.
all right. you enjoy.
Thank you. And
I,
she
I
will-
would actually recommend that you let the boiling water cool just a little bit and then steep for, let's see, 3 minutes for that one, then maybe like 5 minutes for those two.
Okay.
I mean, you can, like theoretically, you could try steeping it a second time for another cup, but you're going to have diminished effects, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. My Aunt Mary has very large opinions on tea. Yeah. I remember those lectures.
She sounds
But
like
she
my
does make
kinda
very
lady.
good tea. If you're ever in Oakenhold, look her up.
Oh, yeah? Big tea market in Oakenhold?
There could be.
Ah, good to know.
Oh boy, we're gonna corrupt the woodlands now.
Well, just remember that Peppa's family forages a lot, and there are a lot of mushrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of varieties of mushrooms.
So, enjoy. And he suddenly blows out the candle, and he's just gone.
Peppa will clap, and then head back inside to hit the bartender up for some boiling water.
You get like it's not in like a fancy tea kettle or anything. It's basically like a tin can that they just set on the stove. But they give you like like a rag to hold the can with once it's boiled. So it's boiled water. It's just it's kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
And then-
thinking like a coffee.
It is not a
coffee
fancy.
pot.
It's not a fancy boiled water,
Right.
Yeah.
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 but that's okay.
It's like, sorry, we used to have a teapot, but it got smashed over somebody's head.
Understandable. Understandable. I'm used to roughing it. I haven't had tea in months. Thank you. Thank you. As
All
a
right.
Peppa, should I trust fate to say that Peppa remembers which one is which?
I will allow you to remember or not remember as you like. It wasn't complicated. I guess it just comes down to, I think, if you think Peppa would remember or not.
I think Peppa would remember.
I don't think it would be complicated. And I feel like it's reasonable to let you know what at least you've been told that you have.
Okay.
There's some possibilities there.
The real question I have is it actually tea or is it something else?
Or
Oh, clearly. Hey, this is not Earl Grey.
it's tea.
is-
Guys,
It's a
We could
custom
make
blend.
It's an herbal infusion.
Yes. It is an herbal infusion, and I'm going to look up at the bartender once I've got my tea bag in there, and I'm like, all right, so no, wait a minute, 3 rounds for the table. So this is my second round. Can you give me a shot of whiskey?
Not even
That's my third
dilute it
round.
with the not even dilute it into the
So
Boilermaker.
this rabbit has, like I said, these intense eyes, and I think what he does is he pulls out a shot glass and he pours you a shot of whiskey and hands it to you without breaking eye contact.
we are trouble.
You are a very understanding gentleman, and she will dunk the shot glass in the tea and hand it back to him and go back to the table.
Oh no.
Oh God!
You know, I feel like this is the right moment to share something I learned today on a podcast, is that Queen Victoria would add a shot of whiskey to her claret. She would drink her wine with a shot of whiskey added to it.
Well, hey.
Well, with the
Yeah, it's hard to be a queen.
It's good to be the queen.
Well, I think it's entirely reasonable for grown-ups to enjoy whiskey.
Yes.
Hence the Boilermakers.
Yes.
So, Arben and Lancelot were left alone at the table then, I guess, while that was happening, because Nigel is buying drinks for his
For
new friends,
friend.
and
Yeah.
Clem's over eavesdropping.
I'm mainly watching the sun. I mean, yeah, I'm drinking my drink.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making small talk with Lancelot about whatever, nothing spectacular. But
Mm-hmm.
every so often I'm looking over at the bar, watching what the sun is doing. But once Peppa goes out the door, I'm keeping giving furtive glances at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I need to go out there and do something? How long has it been? The mental clock is in my head. Do I need to intervene? But when Peppa comes back, there's an audible relief. Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to kill somebody today.
So I think, at least in a casual observation, he looks like a young man out with his friends. They're drinking and having a good time. They're talking. They don't. It doesn't seem to be tense in any way. They're
No.
just talking and enjoying the evening. He seems to know the people he's with reasonably well and having a good time.
I don't feel the need to intervene or interject. This is scouting and reconnaissance rather than action at the moment. But luckily, Nigel did not start the bar fight. This would things go very differently fast. I could finally use my improvised weapon feat, but maybe that'll be happen later once Clem gets a little too much of a ear of the bully boys. We'll find out.
So, I mean, what's next, gang?
Clem will come back once he kind of gets the gist of their conversation and has his drink with those guys, and he makes a show of going back over with his friends, but that means he also shows the back of his shell to those two dudes, and he'll tell everybody once they gather back up at the table what he heard, and it's like, seems like there could be some unrest amongst the minions of the Corvid conspiracy who just happen not to be birds.
Something to exploit, maybe.
Mhm. That seems like something useful, but they're ambitious.
Yeah,
Ambitious people can be dangerous.
And
If
more
we
manipulated.
if we could maybe make them moles or spies for the Riverfolk Company, that could stop the advancements of the Corvid here.
Well,
And they're ambitious and they want to be paid and recognized for their efforts. Sure, that would get them somewhere. And that the little one doesn't seem to be, well, to be fair, neither of them seem very trustworthy.
Arben, as you're having this conversation, I think everyone's back at the table by now, by the
Okay.
way. And Peppa, did you go ahead and make the tea and you're drinking it?
Yep.
I
Sipping
think,
it very slowly.
yeah. So I think, you did also put a shot of vodka in it, or excuse me, whiskey.
Little whiskey.
Shot of whiskey in it. So I think it's hard to know exactly, but I think I would say, generally speaking, your stomach does feel better. You're feeling kind of just very warm and just generally feeling like, yeah, this is good. I like this. Yeah. But as this conversation is starting to happen, Arben, you find yourself just like suddenly just a little sort of wadded up piece of paper just sort of like bonks into your hand and then lands on the table in front of you, and you realize that a bird. Hang on, what was she? Sorry, I have too many characters.
Your
Oh,
rich
excuse
characters are
me. This
future.
is not a bird; it's a rabbit.
Okay.
that you recognize that this rabbit is someone who has just dumped this little wadded up piece of paper on you, and then they're heading for the door, and so they kind of did it casually as they're headed for the door. But I think as you kind of look down at it and kind of follow them as they're passing by, there is a moment where they briefly look back and make eye contact with you, but then they go outside.
Okay, I'm gonna unwad the paper casually, still chatting with everybody, and take a look at what secret note I've been given.
All that's on it is a hastily sketched Erie Dynasty's insignia.
Oh boy. So I hold this up and I'm saying, I think I have business outside.
Okay.
Calmly stand up, straighten up, and walk outside and see what trouble I've wandered into now. My past may have caught up with me. Great.
I will.
I specifically didn't ask anybody to join me, but I also didn't say anyone not to join me.
Yeah.
But
Clem has had a few drinks. Matter of fact, probably more than a few. He's crash. So he's gonna come out behind you, with mug in hand. Clunk, 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 clunk.
a clunk. Oh, well, this is not going to be subtle, but that's okay. But once we get to the door, I will put a hand for you to not to stop, but to slow down. As in, I mean, we've been practicing. You're practical, my squad. Like this is like, don't stop following me, but do it slowly.
Yeah.
Just in
Hang back.
case. Hang back.
He takes a swig. It's like,
Okay. But I will go forthright to go find this rabbit with the mysterious message.
And I think kind of like they're halfway to the door. Then
Mhm.
Nigel will stand up and kind of sneakily go, I follow.
Didn't we already establish that your sneaking days, the
You're
sneaking
not
was
sneaking.
not, it was kind of done for the night?
Well, I have a logical reason for why I'd want to go out, just in case anybody asks. but-
When there's something you know you're good at and you've just done it poorly, like you kind of want to do it good.
Okay,
Right.
I gotta do
So
it
are
right.
you trying to sneak to the point where
Yes.
even Arbin and Clem don't realize that you're following?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and have you make that roguish feat roll then for sneak.
Okay. Better slightly. 7.
Okay. So with the 7, you are in a position where you are either going to need to mark exhaustion, or you risk one of the risks of a partially successful sneak, which is
Wow.
that break something, draw unwanted attention, plunge into danger. And I
I'd
would
be
choose
okay.
that, but it would be basically, it doesn't break the fact that you are successfully sneaking, but something else is complicating it. Or you
Okay.
can mark exhaustion.
I'm going to go ahead and mark exhaustion.
All right.
Okay.
I know exactly what it would have been because as Arbin and Clem have gone out and then Nigel sneaks after, shortly after they left Lancelot and Peppa, you hear a boisterous voice from the door say, "Well, look who it is!" And you look over and it is the duck skipper Tondrick Brickle. That you met in Ironvein, who has just come in and is approaching your table.
Oh, smuggler. He's not fickle. Oh boy.
Yeah, so he's heading your way, but we're going to follow Arbin for the moment. So Arbin, I think, you see this rabbit kind of just leaning against a building just outside, watching you approach, and certainly, Nigel has managed to slip into the shadows, but Clem, I think, is following at a little bit of a remove, and she looks to you and gives you kind of like a knowing nod and then like a glance over, like, raising an eyebrow.
Um, I will give a kind of like a signal, like he's kind of with me. It's like bear with it, and then I'm going to come up closer, and
Okay.
also a signal to Clem to, okay, slow down a little bit, but stay nearby just in case things go south, and you need to help me hide a body.
Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
post up against the side of the building, kind of sipping at the rest of the drink.
That's perfect.
Yeah, the complicated signs of the NT, potential body.
Well, we've killed a number of
Prepare for
people at this
shovel.
point, so you know.
Prepare for shovel.
So this rabbit, as you approach, she kind of reaches like in and sort of pulls over her lapel backwards
Mhm.
and shows like an Erie Dynasty insignia pin.
Which one is it?
It is so. It is for House Espery, which
Okay.
you are aware of, and was not one of the ones that was like in direct conflict with your own, the master that you served when you were there. It was an allied house.
Yeah. Okay.
And she just looks at you and says, "I know who you are."
I don't hide who I am.
No, I mean specifically. I was there at the battle that day.
Okay. Then now we get serious and grave. Where are you now?
Yeah,
On which
I mean,
side?
side of House Espery. I'm not trying to imply that I did something to you. I'm just trying to say I know who you are.
Okay. Those days are in the back of my eye, but never gone.
So you've just left the dynasty altogether?
Maybe one day I will return. Right now, my path leads me away from the site of the fall of my master.
Yeah, I guess I get that. So my name's Dai. It's like spelled like the color. I work for, Lord Espery.
What
And
brings
I'm-
you here? You
Well-
know who I am, but you didn't come seeking me. Clearly,
No.
surely.
No, well, I'm here to report on the state of, former colonies. I mean, not
This
that.
is a this
I
is a
mean-
rather tumultuous region.
Well, that's for sure. Now, I mean, between you and me, we all know Erie dynasties are not retaking any of this territory. That's not going to
The
happen.
the Erie dynasty doesn't have the will or the organization to reclaim any former territories.
So, would Clem have approached by now?
He's still he's keeping his distance. He's not.
Okay.
He's
Not-
gonna let, but he's within earshot.
Okay. So yeah, she is kind of definitely like she is following your lead, Arbin, on whether if you seem like you're okay with him listening.
Yeah.
And I think after a moment, she's going to lean in a little closer, Arbin, and say, "The capybara is listening too. Is that okay?"
That gives I will try not to look surprised, but there will be a momentary look of surprise, and then almost a yeah. There he's part of the, and Arbin thinks for a moment, the organization that I'm part of now.
Sure. Yeah, I just didn't want to blow up your spot if you're laying
No.
low.
No, they don't know everything that happened in the Erie Dynasty. I'm the real outsider amongst this group, but
Yeah. Well, so in any case, I work for House Espery, and they're not retaking this territory, but that doesn't mean they don't ask about it, right?
Right.
They want to know what's happening down here. And, as you might expect, they don't like what they hear.
What? Well, there's a lot of things going on, and I've been to a number of clearings. What in particular don't they like? Or
Well,
what might, or on the other, or to put it another way, looking an eye to the main chance, how might House Esbury and I come to accord, or at least be able to help each other?
I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and make a figure someone out roll here,
Okay.
which is a roll with charm.
Yeah, not my thing, but we'll give it a shot. That is a 7.
Okay, so on a 7, you have one hold, which you can use to get an answer to one of these questions. Is your character telling the truth? What is your character really feeling? What does your character intend to do? What does your character wish I would do? How could I get your character to blank? And you don't have to ask that now. You can choose.
But yeah, one of the burning one is kind of going. So what does Di wish I would do?
Right now, so what she says is it's like, so here's the thing. That's why I'm down here, is to get reconnaissance, get a sense. What are the power players? What are the power structures down here? Is there any rumor that there might be any attempt to take more of the Erie territory? With the Marquessate and the Duchy making moves here in this part of the woodland, obviously they're paying attention to that. And I guess what I'm looking from you is, you are someone whose opinion I trust on this matter. So tell me, should the Erie dynasties be worried about the Marquessate and the Duchy?
Right now, the Marquessate and the Duchy, and I've dealt with both, and at Sword Point even, are more concerned with each other than with the Erie dynasty. The Erie dynasty is seen as, rightly or wrongly, that distant thing we don't care about. They're more focused. Their swords are pointed at each other at the moment, and they're basically, my opinion, having gone through a number of these clearings and a number of these towns, is that they're basically trying to carve up the woodlands between the two of them, and basically pushing each other for advantage.
Right, right.
I've made moves to limit that in my own self-interest, because I don't want to see either of these two gain ascendancy, because especially the Duchy does not seem at all kind. And the Marquessate, while I have made enemies in the Marquessate as well, as far as the Corvids and the Riverfolk, they're both acting in more of a mercantile rivalry. And it's
Right.
in this town here, right here and now, is where is a front line of that rivalry. You may have heard, if you've been here long enough, of a substitution of flowers, which has caused an outbreak of
Yeah,
stomach upset among the people.
heard a little bit about that, and obviously, that no one up in the dynasty gives the Riverfolk Company any weight as a threat, to their own peril, in my opinion. But they obviously, all of the nobles up there see the trade as crass, right? They think it's a low pursuit, and they don't care about it, and so they're going to hear a story like that and just say, well, that's the sort of thing to expect from those sorts of people. That's what they're going to say.
But
Right.
the Corvids are smugglers and working in the shadows. Given time, if you gave the Corvids a chance, they might actually pose a subtle threat to the dynasty and trying to.
Well, that's
Because-
what I'm more worried about, is that they're insidious, is that, they're
Yes,
like, because they're birds, they're going to be able to get into some circles that they most of the river folk won't. And
or the Duchy of the Marquessate, for that matter.
yeah, well, and just the fact that the way they seem to work is, behind the scenes, and They make arrangements for things to blow up instead of meeting on a battlefield.
Yes, yes, that is the Corvids modus operandi: assassination, sabotage, espionage, undermining, infiltration.
So, do you have any idea what they might be up to? Like, what's their next move?
They're concerned with limiting the river folks' trade influence, as far as I can tell. I've just gotten here into Corvid territory, so I've not completely gotten their plans, but that's what they seem to do. I was recently in another town where they were basically trying to take that sort of underworld influence and spread that to that town as well. So that's given a chance, if they spread throughout the woodlands, then yes, they'll probably reach their tendrils back towards the dynasty and see if they can get their claws into the underbelly of the cities and towns. But at the moment, these four groups are basically all vying with each other. The dynasty is not under threat yet. That could change if one of these gains ascendancy and starts seeing themselves as an heir or supplanter of the dynasty. Like the dynasty is fallen. We are the new and better ones. The Marquisate is very interested in technology, and the duchy is very interested in
Control.
control and order. Yes, thank you.
Well,
So they have very different
tell
philosophies.
You haven't been back home in a while because
I have not.
there's just
What-
increasingly, a lot of pressure on, just I can't help but flinch when you talk about the dynasty has fallen. I mean, I know
That's
what you're
the perception.
saying. I know
That's
what
the
you're
perception.
saying.
Here. Yeah.
I'm not even saying it's wrong between you and me. Look, I'm loyal to House Esprit. That doesn't mean that I think Lord Esprit is always right about everything. Right? And so what I report back to him is what I think is in his best interest,
So you'll edit our conversation, obviously.
obviously.
We agree. We understand each other. Is this your base of operations here, or you've seen what of the woodlands have you seen?
Well, mostly here. I've spent a little bit of time in Rooston, but I've been trying to decide what's next because I'm a little worried. Looking over at Patchwood or down in Iron Vein, those seem kind of overrun. I'm not sure it's.
Iron Vein is a front line in the Marquisate Duchy conflict. The duchy's efforts there to gain and solidify control have taken a hit lately, and my team and I are part of that. But on the other hand, even as that happens, the Marquisate is looming to the east, and they're both trying to gain territory and face off against each other. Given time, if nothing happens, there will be a Marquisate Duchy war in the woodlands. That seems obviously guaranteed to me unless action is taken. And my team and I don't want to see a Marquisate Duchy war, and probably will try to take steps in our own ways to
So who is
hobble
your
that.
team working for?
ourselves. Or to be more precise, we're working for.
We're working for
It's-
denizens. We're working for ordinary folks.
But Marvin's going to hesitate. We're working for the unaligned, the people who are not part of these sort of factions. The people who are just trying to live their lives in these towns.
So she has a little bit of an expression there.
Yeah, I know
which
she's
is-
gonna.
Which is it's not like skepticism, like that's dumb. It's more like
It's a little idealistic.
you've been away from
yeah.
home, man. Because
I have been away from. I don't have a house anymore to
Yeah.
support and to back up. My house is gone, completely gone. Or if you want to put it another way, I am my house. So I don't have the resources, the power base, the family that you do. I mean, these four people that I work with are my family now. That's who they are. I mean, we came together under arduous circumstances, and we're a very strange family. I mean, yonder turtle is, for all intents and purposes, my squire. Yonder capybara who's hiding in the shadows and thinks he's sneaky is he's learned stuff from me, as has the fox, as has the pico, and I've learned from them. So we're a found family, which I know sounds like something out of one of those weird old romance novels, but there you are. That's who we are. That's who I'm aligned with, my found family, because I don't have anybody else. And
So-
they support me and I support them, which is why the capybara came out sneaking to make sure that you weren't going to try to kill me.
Yeah.
Because, weird visits from the past can be sometimes fraught. I am glad this has been a positive conversation, and I hope we will meet and talk in the future, because it's been a long time since I've been to the Erie Dynasty or had contact with it. So you are a connection back to my past and my home, which I will never forget or give up. But it's been, as you point out, attenuated. It's been a long time since I've roosted in those eaves and thrown through those streets.
Well, Sir Ironwing. I guess, I don't know. Do you still go by that?
No one has called me Sir Ironwing in a long time. So he stiffens slightly and then relaxes, like, oh no, this is the way I should be. This is the way that people could refer to me. So it's like the old title, like. But then I relax and nod. Then I'll nod. Go.
So,
Yep.
if I might have permission to speak frankly to you for a moment.
Okay.
I understand that the loss of your lord must have had a profound impact on you. But I think it's also true that trying to expect the same degree of stability and loyalty from just a group of people that you've met. They're not an institution. They're not a noble house. That your found family is going to last as long as it takes for you to have a bad argument one day. I hope that doesn't happen. But Lord Espery has need of good and noble knights. There is a place for you in our house if you need one.
If and when my wings carry me from these friends back to the Erie Dynasty, I would be more than honored to enter into your lord's house. At this time, my wings do not carry me there, but I know the flight paths, and now I know that there's a possibility there. And I sincerely and dearly appreciate something I didn't think I had. And I thank you for that, Di.
Well, I hope that you will take us up on that offer before you are lost. But I also hope, again, I understand spending time down here, seeing things outside of the Dynasty. I know that it's not all what they say up there. And so I hope that you can find the good in here and that you can make the part of it that you reside in better.
That is my goal. That is my wish. That is my intent in action.
All right, then. She kind of glances up in the direction that you were hiding in the shadows, Nigel, and just says, "Don't feel bad. I'm very good at this."
Understood.
And then she nods to you, Clem, as well, and says, "I hope you understand what you've got here." And then she'll kind of just, give you one more nod, Arvin, and then sort of wander off into the shadows.
Arvin will stand there for for a few moments, just like stand there watching her pass. Thoughtful, contemplative, wistful, a little sad. And then he'll turn back towards the two of you. Back to the
Clem,
bar.
Clem kind of walks up to you and puts an arm on your shoulder and says, "That could have went far worse."
Yes, it could have been from a house that wanted to kill me.
Hey, no
That-
need to hide. There's no need to hide bodies. And I'm very happy you are happy to be happy here.
You've had a little much. Come on out, Nigel.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nigel, I joined him and looked like he was about to do or say something, but when Clem made it obvious how drunk he was, he just put an arm around Clem and say, let's get you someplace where you won't make a fool of yourself like I did earlier."
And Clem just goes, "Oh, secret capybara man. Secret capybara man." And he finishes off his mug. He was like, "Let's go get everybody else."
So
Yep.
while this is going on,
Mhm.
Lancelot has been picking away at the Ballad of the End team,
Okay.
figuring out how it sounds and making some notes as to lyrics. But after a bit, he says, "You know what? I think we need to find out what happened with Ernica and the mayor today."
So Tondrick is approaching your table too. So
Oh, okay.
if you had been working on stuff, I don't want to interrupt that, but I think you have at the moment a duck coming over
Yes.
to you,
Okay.
boisterously saying, "So sounds like you didn't want to participate in my little venture back in Iron Vein, eh?
Oh, I did.
Yeah."
But
Things got a little complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that.
did. Oh, boy, they did. Yeah,
were you
so
there? Were you there?
well,
We had to leave. We had to leave kind of quickly.
yeah, I had to leave quickly too, without my shipment of weapons.
Oh no.
Yeah, now, obviously, we didn't have more than a meet to suss out interest deal, so I'm not holding it against you. But
Yeah.
yeah. So, what exactly did you all do?
I look at Peppa to see whether she wants he's got the look in his eye when he's thinking up a story, and he kind of wants whether or not he's going to tell a tale or if he's going to tell the truth. And
I'll also be clear, he's not being quiet.
Oh yeah.
no, yeah.
Oh yeah. I did. This duck I know is not a quiet person.
Well, yeah, but he's not even really trying. He's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's like what do?
well,
I will point to this. Get yourself a drink. The drunker you are, the better that banjo sounds.
he immediately wanders over towards the bar, and you see him pointing back at your table and being served a drink.
all right. So quickly, how much do we tell him?
You tell him whatever you want to.
Okay. See, I'm always up for talking up our reputation.
Yeah, go right ahead. That's why I pointed to you and your glorious banjo, and I will toast you again with that thing. I'm serious about it. The whiskey makes that thing sound so much better. You just practice it, buddy.
It's
And
Am I right?
tea.
And
Yeah.
I'll Peppa will call out to the rest of the bar. Am I right? The drink makes it sound better.
I think that Lancelot, it is clear to you that Peppa's slurring her words some. She seems to be having a very good time. Lee, just as a sort of reference point, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you've ever had cold syrup with codeine in it,
Yeah.
but I would
no.
encourage you to think of that feeling as what you're experiencing right now.
Mixed with alcohol, that's going to be pretty potent.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did not tell you
Well-
to put a shot
That's-
of whiskey in there.
No, that's perfectly fine because Peppa is a very small bird, so the amount of havoc she can create without fire is kind of minimal.
But
All right.
Peppa does have a Molotov
So
cocktail.
when he comes back with, I suppose he's come back with
But it's
like
not
drinks for
lit.
all of us, right?
Oh no, he has come back with a drink to have been
Oh,
put
okay.
on your tab.
Oh, okay. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. So have a seat.
It's one of Nigel's because he's actually been very slow in his drinking.
Sure. Yeah. So in any case, yes, he was served a drink, and he sits down in one of the empty chairs and puts his feet up on one of the other empty chairs and says, "Well, thank you for this. So, you were going to tell me a story, huh? Huh?"
Well, so there was. Let's see, which part of this is relevant?
Well, also, I'm going to say that, like, obviously, we don't necessarily need to just tell the story of a thing that happened in the campaign already.
Right.
Necessarily. But yes, embellish however you like. We can also hand wave that you explain something without necessarily needing to.
Yeah. I want to tell the story of Iron Vein without the bit with like I want to alter things a little
Okay.
so that the twig man that we brought back and put on top of the trading post is not something we brought back and did, but something that was like the stag god told us that we were kind of under a curse
Okay.
and that something was going to happen in the next town we went to, next clearing we went to. Do you know what I mean? So,
So I guess
I
I'm
wanna
not
kind
clear
of-
why you would put it that way, because that still makes it sound like you're responsible.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. The stag god told us to go back to Iron Vein and witness his power.
Okay. Yeah. So I buy that, and so did you witness it?
The beginning of it, but I don't know how we had to leave before we found out the whole story.
Oh man, like I wasn't, like there when like it happened, but the aftermath is plenty entertaining. I mean, obviously, like it was not great staying around there all that long afterwards. I don't know what you've heard, but yeah, the Riverfolk Company is no longer welcome in Iron Vein, that's for sure. But it's it's
hope
all
so.
a bunch of bug crap. Because like the duchy's still buying services like ships and mercenaries and stuff from the Riverfolk Company, but the Riverfolk Company higher ups agreed that we're just going to give up all our contracts there in Iron Vein. Ugh, bogus. That's why.
Wow.
That's why I do what I do. And he's like pointing over at you, Peppa, and he's like, if the red tape ties you up, cut right through it.
Or set it on fire.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. He slams his drink down.
We smash glasses together. Mine's mostly empty.
So, I personally have a need to make up for some losses that I suffered in Iron Vein.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even though obviously our last arrangement didn't work out,
Mm-hmm.
is that something that you and your crew, so adept at moving around in secret like,
That's not exactly our strong suit. We tend to make ripples wherever we go.
well, yeah, but you
Yeah.
get the job done.
Yeah. No, I think.
See, I guess
we're
what I'm
heading
looking
out-
at is ripples are good distractions.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know something, I don't want to speak for the whole group, but we got a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, do tell.
Well, I mean, there's this whole thing. You heard about the thing with the flower, right?
Well, yeah, like someone says the flower's bad. I don't care.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty big deal to the folks who live here, because, bread is what people eat every day. And if they can't trust the flour, then what are they going to eat? It's kind of a big deal. And you
Let
know
them
what?
eat cake.
They also make beer out of it. So,
I don't think that they make beer out of flour.
no, but they make it out of wheat, and if you can't trust it, that's a bad thing. But anyways,
you know what? Like like between you and me, oh, I'm so sad for the people who eat bad flour. But here's the thing. There's the mark and the people who make the marks. I like to consider myself in the latter category, right?
didn't eat bread today.
What did I eat today? And he seems lost in thought for a moment.
Like, anybody can be a mark when when it comes right down to it, because everybody's got this kind of web of trust. Now you might say, oh, I don't trust anybody, but when you buy a loaf of bread from the baker, you're trusting that they aren't selling you something bad. And when that baker buys flour from the supplier, they're trusting that that's not bad. And, and all that stuff, you might say, oh, yeah, I'm my own man. I don't trust anybody. But when you think about it, everybody has to trust somebody. I mean, heck, you trusted us when you came to us with your scheme. So it's always there. So we think about that, and we try. One of the things that we do is that we try to make sure that that basic interconnected trust that we all really depend on, whether we think so or not, doesn't get unraveled. That's ultimately what we're after. So, I thank you for thinking of us. It's a compliment. But like I said, we got a lot on our plate right now.
So,
And I think if I talk to the rest of the crew, I think they'd say we're gonna pass.
So he's had a really kind of thoughtful, concerned expression on his face for all of that. But then I think you finish all that, and he goes, "No, I had porridge for breakfast, and then turkey for lunch." Oh, you know what? Okay, so like, look, you're not interested. That's fine. I got plenty of people, plenty of denizens looking to help me make money. So
Yeah.
if you're out,
Well,
then more power to you. Make your mark out there, eh?
Good
take
luck.
care of yourself.
And then he kind of wanders off to like another table and just inserts himself in that conversation just as much as he did for you.
Taking the drink that he got on our tab.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, Peppa, when the guys get back from their little tete-a-tete outside, let them know I'm going to find out what happened with Ernica and the mayor.
Okay.
So I'm gonna head out into the night, picking away at my banjo, and I'm gonna see if I can find where Ernica hangs out when she's done with work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just
And
heading.
Peppa is immediately going to follow after you.
Oh. No, I said you stay here
Make sure
and make
he
sure
doesn't leave.
he doesn't leave.
Yeah.
No, I'm going with you.
Oh boy. It's the tea.
I've
Can
been
we
wanting to
meet
do
like
that
Arbin
reference
on the
forever.
way?
Yeah, well, I think if you're heading out, then perhaps you would meet Arbin, Clem, and Nigel coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Peppa needs a chaperone. I'm gonna go try and find Ernica. Find out what
All right.
happened with her
Yeah.
today.
Peppa, are you all right?
That tea packed something of a wallop, I think.
Yes. Everything is great.
Maybe
I
we
wonder
wanna-
how fast I can fly.
I'm gonna grab Peppa in my arms and hold her like from the back against my chest. Like, no, you're not going anywhere. No.
Yeah, I think you get the
Oh, no
impression that she
fair.
should, like, as she's saying how fast I could fly, she's like
Yeah.
wobbling even as she just stands there.
It's like, no fair, I can't hug you back.
Well, in response to that, Nigel will give her a hug.
Oh,
group hug.
Nigel.
Oh,
Clem is like, I think I'm behind on drinks.
no, no
You
more,
are.
Clem. I
Guess
think
what?
all-
I have tea.
And I think it.
Oh,
Let's head
I'm
to
the-
the room. Let's head to the room for now.
Okay, so I mean, is everybody? Is nobody going back into the bar?
It sounds like nobody's
Actually-
going back in.
Why don't you go, Nigel? You're sober and straight. I will get these two back to our rooms. How about
Understood. Understood. Yeah, and then just we'll pat both Peppa and Nigel on the head and just head back inside.
I was just gonna say it was gonna be
mean
hilarious
Clem?
that like if
Clem.
all of you like in principle the thing that you had gone there for you didn't interact with at all.
Well, we got other things you threw at us.
I
so, you
know. I'm just laughing that was it's funny concept prospect. But so Nigel's going back into the bar. Arbin, Clem, and Peppa heading back towards the hotel, the inn.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Lancelot. So where would you be going to try to start your investigation here? Because it's it's into the evening, but it's not too
Yeah.
late. It's maybe like 10 p.m. or something like that.
That's still kind of late, especially for an office worker type.
Hmm.
That town gossip person.
Bronwyn?
Bronwyn, yeah.
Yeah. Do I know where to find her?
I mean, Peppa would probably know. I mean, and you could
Yeah.
have gotten that from Peppa before she left if you want.
Yeah.
Not that the directions make a whole heck of a lot of sense at this point.
let's in the for the sake of the fiction,
Hmm.
let's say that Peppa has given me some clue as to where I can find.
Yeah, it's basically like it's
Bronwyn.
another bar that's a little nicer.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna head to where I know Bronwyn is. She's probably like holding court,
Oh, for sure.
so to speak.
Yeah,
You
I was
know,
going to use the same
she's
phrase.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And so I'm going to go in and just kind of sit down with her and greet
So,
her and
yeah, this Bronwyn holding court. So, what her whole deal here is, this is a classic English pub style place. And when I
Mhm,
say
mhm.
that, I don't mean like what people think of now as like a bar. I mean, it's the sort of place where retired people hang out all day.
Yes,
And so
yes.
she's holding court with her crew of all retirement age folks
Hmm, hmm.
who are hanging out, complaining about everything that's going wrong in the woodland today.
Yes, yes,
But
yes,
at least we've got our place.
yes, yes. Um, so I'm just going to sit down and first, kind of tell her how lovely she's looking, and she must be
Oh,
taking care of herself.
well, you know,
Um,
I try.
and then say, have you heard have anything about what happened at the counter's office today? They were kind of investigating where that flower had come from. Um, have you heard anything about that? Because I want to know if they figured out who's responsible for all that mess.
Oh, well, you know, the big gossip after you all left with Marielda is that Counter Ernica actually kicked Mayor Gage out of her office. It was a whole
Whoa.
thing.
Wow. I mean,
Hmm.
isn't he technically her boss?
Well, no, not really. I mean,
Oh,
obviously,
okay.
like he's in charge of the town, but the arrangement for the existence of the trading post is a contract with the Riverfolk Company, and she's the
Uh,
Riverfolk Company's representative, so she's almost like a diplomat.
uh-huh. Wow,
Now,
that
that's not to
he's
say he doesn't think of himself as her boss and act like he's her boss and tell her he's her boss, but that doesn't mean that she's not still capable of having some burly stevedores escort him out.
wow. That's I you know something? Um I want to go by and just tell her how much I appreciate that because quite frankly it was the right thing to do. Do you know where I can find her this time of night? Is she an early to bed type sort?
Well, yeah, I think unfortunately she is absolutely not the sort of person who hangs out at a fine establishment like this one. Uh, she is absolutely the sort of person who thinks, things like early to bed, early to rise make a person healthy, wealthy, and wise actually make real sense and is something to actually live by instead of a nonsense proverb.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. All right, well,
I mean, so she lives, not far from the trading post. She has a house, but I would literally imagine she is actually, right now in bed, perhaps with an open ledger on her lap and little half moon reading glasses.
all right. Well, then I'll have to catch her in the morning. Thank you so much. You are as always a font of knowledge.
Oh, well, I I do like to keep up a reputation after all.
I would like to um, to use my uh, 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 um, pleasant facade
Mm-hmm.
uh, ability on her. I think it's
Okay.
going to be a useful thing to have. Um,
Sure. When you suck up to or butter up an unsuspecting NPC, roll charm.
And I rolled 9 plus 3 is 12.
Okay,
I
so
got
yeah, so you've
hold
got
2.
3 hold, which you can spend to deflect suspicion or aggression onto someone or something else. Now, because this is not someone where you're trying to like distract. This is not like a guard where you're trying to keep them
Right.
busy so they don't see someone sneaking by in the background,
Right.
right? But nonetheless, you have
Yeah.
with flattery have earned enough of her affection that she is likely to listen to what you have to say, even when it might otherwise not make sense.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, no, see, I figure she's a good person to be able to deflect blame with just because there's lots of people that she's trading information with. So,
Okay, well, I guess you have 3 hold that we can talk about
Yeah.
how you would spend it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So, yeah, then I'll head back to the room.
Okay. Nigel, when you go back into the bar, what are you doing now that it's just you?
I'm going to, yeah. Basically, I'm gonna sit at the table for just a little bit, see if look around at.
I think
Hi.
the table is no longer unoccupied.
Okay.
The
Wow.
instant all of you were not at the table, people moved in.
Okay. So I'll start heading to the table, see that it's occupied, and be like, shrug, and then head to the bar and try and get to a place that's somewhat close to the Marielda's son,
Hmm. Yeah. Kellen is his name. You would have
Kellen.
heard that name at some point. Yeah. And so I think, yeah, I mean, it's not too hard to be nearby. But to be sure, they don't seem to be they are talking about the kinds of things that drunk 23-year-olds talk about while at the bar.
Okay. So just so I can be sure, what was kind of the purpose of trying to talk to her son?
Oh, well, it was mostly just that Mirielda was unhappy that her son had gone to work for the Corvid conspiracy. And what she wants is for him to not do that anymore, in particular because she's worried he'll get hurt, but that he won't listen to her anymore about the subject.
Okay.
So, like, it was up to you whether you wanted to try to do something about it, but what she asked Lancelot was, if possible, to persuade him to not work for them anymore. But,
Okay.
up to you to decide what you actually do to proceed, but that's what Marielda asked.
So would Lancelot or Arben or any of you have actually given any ideas?
I mean, it sounds like you really didn't have a plan at all. You were just basically coming here to just like, I don't
Serve
know.
him,
You
yeah.
frankly seemed
Okay.
more interested in, oh, there's a bar?
Okay.
So I don't think you all had much of a plan.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
we didn't. But we did learn some interesting things. So I think it was a positive experience in the long run.
Okay. So I think I lean over to Kellen and say, "Oh, excuse me, sir. Do you know who owns this shirt?"
So
What?
you've got the shirt that you stole from the otter, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So once again, you wouldn't have known in character that they knew each other, but at the same time,
Yeah.
so I think there's a moment where he is at first really perplexed that you're calling him sir. Like, who are you to come in and call me sir? But then when you hold up this shirt, which incidentally is currently soaking wet with alcohol because you used it to clean up the spilled drinks.
Yeah.
Oh God.
He looks down, and I think that he is as good at covering his recognition as you would expect a drunk 23-year-old to be?
So not good at all.
No. I don't know whose shirt that is.
Ah, I was hoping to return it to the owner. There was I had a small mishap earlier today where,
You know what you should do is you should give it to the bars lost and found.
well, I, if I did not find it, or I did not, I, the incident did not happen here, so I don't know if the owner comes here.
So why are you asking me about it?
Well, you seem like a knowledgeable person, someone who knows quite a few people here, and
So incidentally, his whole like crew is avidly listening into this whole conversation with big drunk grins on their faces. And when you say you seem like the person who knows what's going on, they all laugh, and he looks a little bit embarrassed.
to and it you the rest of you sound like you have an opinion on that.
Uh, they kind of all sort of snicker and just kind of like, no, come on, Cullen, you just tell him. So yeah, you're the local. Yeah, everybody comes to Kellen, and they're kind of snickering, but they're definitely giving him a hard time. And he's looking at like,
Aw.
you know, so look, Mister, I don't know what you're on about here, but you know, like, you're messing with the wrong people if you're coming in here to, like, you know, bust my chops.
I honestly do want to return this shirt to the owner.
So here's the thing. You don't though, right? That's not what's happening here. That's not in character. My point is
Okay.
just that
Well,
you are.
I haven't. I would like to have a conversation as I'm returning it, but returning it would be one of the things I'd want to do.
Well, what if I told you that I do know whose shirt it is, and that if you just give it to me, I'll make sure they get it?
Well, I would like to have a conversation with this person as well as returning it because
Well, and what would that conversation be about?
I think he has knowledge of something that is very important for me to know, and I would happily make sure that if that my sources are kept confidential.
Uh, like, some of what you're saying has changed the energy here a little bit, because what some of the rest of these guys, like, it, you're giving the impression that you are someone who simultaneously wants to do things that could cause them trouble, but that they don't think you would be capable because they think they're too tough. So they kind of simultaneously right now, like, you're getting a little bit of a sense of like, oh, I see what's happening. You're trying to be slick, but you're not
Yeah.
slick enough for us. So you're getting a little bit of a transition from all of these people to like slightly more predatory expressions.
Yeah. Can I go like step up from the play here for a moment? And it's like, David, what are you actually wanting to have happen?
I would like to basically arrange to have a talk with this person to find out what he knows about the red millet.
All right. Well, I think that it makes sense that that's what Nigel wants. But what I want to convey is I don't think Nigel gets the impression that this conversation is moving in a productive direction.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
think
think that your approach is essentially this group of drunken 23-year-olds. It's like you came up to them and said, okay, I want to find one of your friends and I just want to ask him some questions. And they're feeling like, what possible benefit could that have? You are trying to cause trouble, but we think that we could easily cause you much more trouble than you can cause us.
Okay. So, and that's the feeling I'm getting from it. Okay.
Yeah, you are getting the impression that right now what you've been doing so far is talking yourself into getting mugged.
Okay. So, you know, after that, so with that realization, be like, look around at them, say,
Mm-hmm.
well, perhaps I was mistaken, and I will take the thick shirt, kind of roll it up, and perhaps I will go wash
Yeah,
this.
one of the guys, not Kellen, kind of grabs at the shirt and just says, "Why don't you just leave that here? We'll make sure he gets it, and we'll tell him you were looking for
How
him."
can I be sure?
I think this guy who is a wolf, and he's pretty big, kind of leans in real close with his hands, like pulling at the shirt, and he leans right in and just says, "Don't you trust us?"
There has not been much that has earned my trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you got to give us an opportunity to prove it then. And I think he's going to try to pull the shirt away from you.
And I would like to oppose it.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll with might.
Alright. So you're going to
Okay.
get into you're going to cause a bar fight again.
So we're not here to help them.
Oh.
I know.
4.
4. I think he pulls the shirt out of your hand, and you maybe end up with just a torn scrap of like a shirt cuff or something like that. But right now, though, they look like they are kind of starting to move to, like, surround you. Like, they're not currently cutting off any avenue of escape, but they're crowding you in an intimidating fashion. And they're saying, maybe you ought to just move along now. We'll tell your friend you were looking for him.
Well, if he wishes to have less trouble in the future, he can meet me at outside of what's it?
The inn we're staying at?
Meet me outside of the flower cellar tomorrow morning, and we can get this taken care of. And then I will walk away.
Okay. Moving everybody because the camera turning off makes it. So
We lost,
we're all
we
in the
lost
wrong
Paul.
place.
yeah, because
Or we can just play each other's characters. I'll play Pepper.
Oh.
And that's how the town burned down. The end.
Hey, you gotta give me a chance.
okay, where's this?
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely thought he was gonna be like, "You can find me at your mom's."
I mean,
Yeah, then we'd have a very hurt capybara in short order.
So
given that
Nigel,
Month is actually a
they
business.
let you leave, but I think unless you want Nigel to be oblivious to this, which you could choose as a character choice, of course. But I want to be clear that the vibe that I was trying to communicate on their behalf is that they were an inch away from dragging you out into the alley and beating the crap out of you.
Yeah. So-
You were basically acting like an undercover cop who's trying to get one of their friends in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they were reacting, given that. So it's one of those things where at the same time that you were acting like that, they also did not feel threatened. So
Okay.
it was more a matter of like any pretense of this is just an innocent, oh, I just want to have a conversation with him. They did not believe that for a second.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so right now, I think what you have done is persuade them that you are potentially a troublemaker who's going to get one of their friends busted for something.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so, yeah,
He's not oblivious to that. He's
okay.
uh,
Yeah.
you know,
So I think in this context, they're letting you go, but I think you get the impression that setting foot in this place again would be a bad idea for you.
oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why I mentioned the flower seller,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
flower
so
seller.
yeah,
place.
you tell them that. I would say but I think Nigel should estimate the chances of this otter actually showing up as just above absolute zero.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess
No.
I,
And
guess I
so
can.
that's fair. I'm just saying that like, if the outcome you wanted was to be able to actually talk to this otter, I think you did not read
Yeah,
the room
yeah.
very well, or Nigel didn't
Yeah.
rather.
I tried, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's okay. That's okay. It's
He's not the-
everyone
he's not
does
the
their
talker.
characters the same way. I wanted to make sure I was being clear about
Oh,
the
yeah.
way these characters reacting, which is
Yeah.
that they are extremely hostile to the idea that someone is looking for one of their friends who maybe did something wrong. They
Okay.
are not receptive to that in the slightest. So that's why I was just trying to make sure that that was coming across clearly.
Yeah. Basically, I tried to, my thought was, oh, hey, I would have said, oh, the otter came forward with some knowledge of the source and, a concerned denizen that was
So
trying to help.
the information that I think that you should take away from all of this on everybody's behalf is that Kellen is not an innocent little kid who's gotten swept up in something he doesn't
Yeah.
understand. He likes
Okay.
the idea that he is signed up to be a gangster.
Okay.
He thinks that's cool and fun. And
Okay.
so he is part of a gang, and you were going to try to get one of his friends in trouble.
Okay.
And so he is not the like, oh, sure, let me help you to do good for the town. Like, no, that's not what he's about.
So that kind of, I can kind of infer that, Kellen's with the Corvids, so this guy might also be connected that way. And
Could be. I think the other piece that you can take away is it seems clear that he does know who that is.
Oh,
Even
yeah,
if he
yeah.
wouldn't tell you, he does know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, that's a good conclusion too, in the sense
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
this otter you might have initially assumed might be part of the Riverfolk Company, and yet seems to be known and protected by this gang that's clearly with the Corvids. So.
Okay.
All right, though. So I think then that whole exchange honestly doesn't really take very long, and so you could probably hurry if you wanted to try to catch up to Arbin, Clem, and Peppa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably a
thought of-
smart thing to do anyways.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm definitely going towards the inn and probably catching up with them.
Yeah. So I think though that as you're hurrying to catch up with them, you actually see something surprising, which will now be that Arbin, Clem, and Peppa As you are making your way across town, there's a bit where you start to kind of cut through an alley to get
Mm-hmm.
over to the other street. When all of a sudden your path is blocked by a badger and a wolf, and they kind of just stand there and make sort of intimidating "you're not coming this way" body language.
Well, we get some violence yet out of this episode.
Well, and then you kind of turn and look behind you,
Yeah,
and you see others closing in on the from behind. And Clem, how intoxicated do you think you are? How aware of your surroundings are you feeling right now?
I mean, Clem is aware, but is he going to make his normally measured, thought out responses to situations? Probably not.
Okay. So,
Oh.
but I guess where we're going to leave this though is I think Nigel, as you were hurrying, you basically get just the chance to see from a distance these people moving in to try to cut off your friends in this alley. But Arbin, Clem, and Peppa, as you see these other two, big guys with clubs in hand, come in to cut off the other end of the alley. You also see Rhodia and another, let's say another beaver, kind of move in, and Rhodia points at Clem and says, "That's the one."
Crap.
And that's where we're gonna leave it.
Dun dun dun. Okay.
Oh boy.
Now,
Uh,
so just
No.
so the party knows. Now that I see Rhodia's there, someone's getting a Molotov cocktail to the face.
all right, I have the Kill Bill sirens going up with the extreme close-ups, the backups, extreme close-ups, backups.
Yeah.
and don't and, let,
Bum, bum. Yeah.
and you will get a. And once we get out of this, if we make it out of this, I think we make it out of this. You will get a. I told you we should have killed her.
Well, we might get our chance here. We'll
Well-
see, or we'll die, or the horse may learn to sing. We'll find out.
Well, so we finish our session, of course, with the session moves.
Yes,
So,
session moves, yes.
Nigel, you have ambition, increase your reputation with any faction, and development, contribute to a lasting development or improvement to an entire clearing. I don't think either of those really triggers
Yeah.
this
No.
time.
No.
Arbin, folk hero, advance when you perform a significant act of service or heroism, and wanderlust when you journey to a new clearing. I don't think really
No.
Nope.
either of
No.
those here.
No.
Lancelot has wanderlust and anti-militarist, as does Peppa, and I don't think either of those. Yeah, and so Clem, wanted. You've got a bounty on your head. Advance when you defeat or evade capture. So I think that
That's
you don't get
upcoming,
that this time, but it may well happen next time. And then you also have mysteries. Advance when you discover the truth behind strange phenomena. I don't think you really have that one this time. So I don't think anyone gets advancements this time, but there are some on the horizon perhaps. So also I can envision the possibility that some of those of you with wanderlust might get that one next time. Just seeing where things are going, but we'll see. So I think that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. So thank you everybody for listening and or watching, and we will be back next week for more Root the role-playing game on So Many Levels.
Yay!
So many levels.